It's loading. There we go. Hello.
Happy Monday.
We're not normally here on a Monday, but this week is Hop U. I hope you're all excited, and we're excited to be here. If you've tuned into any of our other Hop U, oh, we're moving around. Here we go. We're trying to get the right spot here. If you've tuned into any of our Hop U kind of lives before, then you know we're here to kind of help give you lots of different information about a specific topic. Do you have anything to add? Before we get into what we're going to be talking about all week.
I have a case of the Monday brain today. We are just going to talk about a whole bunch of cool stuff this week. We're doing it from today until Friday, so it's a 5-day course this time. I think our last one was only 3 days, so we're pretty excited to talk about all the stuff and things. If you catch us looking back and forth, you are on TikTok and on Facebook, so we're talking to you both at the same time. So if you catch us looking a weird direction, that's why. Yeah, and we're a little bit late. We are going to be doing the lives at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time all week, but we had customers in the store. We were busy. We were busy little bees. So we apologize if you were waiting. Thank you for sticking around. And I think we're just going to sort of jump right in. We'll give you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be talking about this week, what to expect. So if there is a specific day that you're like, that's the one I really want to be here for, you know when it will be, and we're just gonna get started.
Yeah, so this whole week, we're calling it Beyond the Bag. It's gonna be a Kibble Masterclass. So if you've tuned in before, we've talked about raw, we've talked about a couple other fun
Dog
things.
anxiety.
Dog anxiety, there we go. There my brain was malfunctioning for a second. Monday.
It's a
but
Monday
this
brain.
whole week, we're getting into kibble. So it's going to go in depth into what kibble is. We're going to kind of give you a whole overview of looking at the ingredients that we see in our kibble, understanding what's in the kibble, understanding what a kibble is. We'll go through what's happening on each day here in a little bit, but today is going to be kind of like an intro day. We're going to get you started. We also have a fun worksheet. So if you wanted to hop on to our website, there's a free worksheet that you can follow along all week. It's going to give you a few questions to fill in on like what we're going to talk about, so you can kind of remember all the important information that we talk about this week. There's also going to be a fun quiz, which will be available near the end of the week. We don't want to give it away just yet because we want you to tune in and make sure that you're paying attention to what's happening. But the quiz is going to basically just kind of, it's not hard. It's just going to go over some of the things that we talked about this week and kind of give you that extra little push to be paying attention and learn something new that you might not have known.
Lee was very excited about making the quiz. So we hope that you guys download it and at least do it so that Lee is not super disappointed that she made this quiz, because she was very excited about it.
It's going to be helpful too. All the questions on there are things that we want you to know. So, and the most important things that we want you to know. So you can download the worksheet. It's free right now on our website. You can grab that before tomorrow. I mean, you can grab it right now while we're talking as well, but if you don't want to miss what we're saying, you can grab it later and then you'll be ready for our live tomorrow. But like we said, so today we're going to just kind of get into things. Day 2 is going to be a big full day of learning. So tomorrow is going to be a big one that you're going to really want to be here for. We're going to go over how to read the bag. We're going to go over the differences between like breed specific food, size specific food, life stage specific food like puppy versus senior. And then we're also going to touch on grain free versus grain in. So there's going to be lots of highly questioned topics that we're going to kind of give you all the info that you need to know so you can make some informed decisions on that.
Yep. basically all the questions that people ask us when they come into the store. We're gonna go over all of that for you guys because we know some of you aren't able to come into the store. So we're basically just gonna give you our whole spiel that we give to customers when they come in via TikTok and Facebook. So I hope that you're very excited about it.
Yes, and then so day 3 is going to be how can you grade your current kibble. So we're going to go over our grade your kibble worksheet, take you through all of the things to look at on that back of the kibble bag, all the things that we might question, all the different carb counts, all those kind of things, so you can check out what you're currently feeding and see where it falls. Day 4, we're going to talk about transitioning from one kibble to another, or transitioning from kibble to kind of other food options as well.
What to expect, how to do a transition, when we should stop at any point during our transition, and what to do if our pet decides to go on like a hunger strike when we're transitioning to a new food. So all of the things that, again, are questions that people ask, and we feel like we just want to share that knowledge of wealth with everyone. And then day 5 is going to be ways that you can boost your bowl if you are feeding a kibble. So things that we can do to just add that little bit of extra to the bowl, things we can do to stuff that we talk about all the time. So things that we can do to add hydration or add that little bit of extra into their bowl for them. So that is the 5 days. Like Nicole said, today is going to be just sort of an introduction, looking at kibble, what it is, how to know what is best for your pet. And that's sort of what we're going to be going over today. I do want to say at the beginning, because I know kibble, it can be like a little bit of a touchy subject with some people. So I just want to say this week, by no means are we trying to shame anyone for their choices in their pet food. We are not trying to make anyone feel like they're making the wrong decision for their pet. At the end of the day, you have to do what works best for you. We are just here to share the knowledge that we have and talk about the ways that we can incorporate different things into the bowl and the difference with what a kibble is. So again, we're not here to shame anyone for their decisions. We're not here to touch on anything that could be controversial. We just want to talk about kibble and what kibble is so that everyone knows what kibble is, because there's so many different foods out there and not everything is considered a kibble. So I am just gonna jump right in. So what is dry pet food? What is kibble? Most dry foods are known as kibble. The big thing with kibble is that it is processed, so it is going to be different than when we talk about carnivore. Carnivore is an air-baked food, or when we talk about like a freeze-dried or something like that. It's all about the way that it's processed. So kibble is more of a processed option. It's just the way that they make the kibble. It is heated at pretty high temperatures and then extruded into that tiny little kibble shape. And then a premix of vitamins and minerals are added back in to make sure that they are still getting a balanced meal. They're still getting everything that they need from that kibble, but they are adding it back into the food because that very high temperature sort of messes around with things, makes it so that you're not getting all of those vitamins and minerals. So it just gets added back in and is still a fully balanced meal. Kibble is, it's different from other dry foods just because of the amount and the type of processing that's being used. So again, carnivore, air-baked food, not going to be as processed as a traditional kibble. Same with smack. Smack's a dehydrated raw, so that's not something that is going to be considered a kibble. It's all about the way that it's processed it's all about the way that it's processed. It's all about the heat and the temperatures that they're using. So that's how you sort of know what is a kibble, what is not a kibble. And it's usually pretty easy to tell, especially by like the look of it and stuff like that. That's again all stuff that we're going to go into the next couple days. Today is just really talking about what kibble is. So the methods that they would use to make a freeze-dried or a dehydrated or an air-baked are going to be really different than the methods that they would use to make a kibble, but you're still sort of getting that scoop and serve convenience. The whole big thing with kibble is that we want that convenience, we want that scoop and serve. It's going to be something that's a little bit easier for us. When we did our whole hop you on raw, raw is not convenient for everyone. Not everyone has the time to be taking food out of the freezer and letting it thaw and all this stuff. I know if anyone is like me, I am the worst at remembering to take things out of the freezer. I am terrible at it. My dogs would starve on a regular basis if I was feeding them only raw food, because I have, like, I would say sometimes I have the memory of a goldfish. It's unfortunate. So the big thing with kibble is that you're getting that scoop and serve convenience. It's also a different lifespan of the food. So with a kibble, once that bag is opened, you're looking about 28 days for that optimal freshness. Obviously on day 29, you're not going to take that whole bag and throw it out into the garbage. It is still good, but for optimal freshness, we want to use it within that 28 days. After that 28 days, it does start to oxidize and essentially rot. So if we can feed that food when it is nice and fresh, that is the best thing we can do. And then with the alternatives, it sort of varies in terms of the lifespan of those. For example, carnivore, once you pop open a bag of carnivore, their food's good for 2 years. Just because it's not processed the same way that a kibble would be, so you're just getting a longer lifespan out of it.
Essentially what's going bad on the kibble is they use a fat to preserve it. So with everything these days, especially to get that scoop and go convenience, we have to preserve it. There's some brands that preserve things naturally. Kibble, because of the temperature that it gets cooked to, we have to preserve that with a fat. So it gets coated on the outside of all the pieces of kibble in that bag. So once we open it, those fats starts to go rancid slowly. So at that 28-day mark, we're kind of getting to the end of the lifespan of that coating on the outside. So that's kind of really what's going bad with the kibble. It's just a different way of processing. So we just want to make sure that you are aware of what's going on, and then you know which size bag is best for your pup. So if you have a 5-pounder or like this guy here, like a 14-pounder, you're not going to want a 22-pound bag of kibble. It's just not going to be fresh by the time we get to the end of that bag. So better to stick with something that will get you through that month period, and then you can get a new fresh bag. So we're always giving them something fresh to enjoy, and we're not, they don't want to eat gross things either. So
no, well, some dogs. If we are wanting to buy that big bag of food because we think it's a better bang for our buck, if we take out what we know we're going to use in that 28 days, we can put the rest in the freezer. As long as it is sealed, we can put that back in our freezer. Treat it sort of the way we would with our meat that we would put in the freezer. We don't obviously want to be leaving it in there forever, but we can take whatever we're not going to use, put it in the freezer, and that is going to help keep it a little bit more fresh.
So why is learning about kibble and how it's processed and all of that so important? Just because you have so many options as a consumer. When you go into the store, there's going to be 20 to maybe even 50 different brands of food in front of you, and we're just trying to help give you the information to decide which one is best for you and your pet. Every bag out there is going to be processed differently. There's some companies that may use ingredients that are not necessarily great because there's some hidden things in the pet food industry that we are not a super fan of. We'll touch on some of those later in the week. But essentially, we just want to make sure that you know what to look out for. We want to make sure within those options that you have that you're able to kind of look at them, assess them, and have an open mind going in and kind of be more aware, because it's the same thing with us. We want to be aware of what we're putting in our body. We want to be aware of what we're putting in our pet's body as well. Since they can't speak up and make those decisions, we have to be conscious and look for what's happening inside those kibble bags and make sure we're finding the right ingredients for their best health, because we want them to live forever. Like, look at this face. We want him to live forever.
We sure do.
At least I do. He's my baby.
We basically just want to make sure you guys are making informed decisions, that you know what to be looking for. It can be super overwhelming going into a pet store and there's all these different foods in front of you and you're like, oh my goodness, which one is the best one? Which one should I be buying? It can just be super overwhelming, and we don't want you guys to be overwhelmed when you go into the pet store. Going to the pet store is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to have fun. We're supposed to buy fun stuff. And so we just want you to be able to go in there with the confidence to be able to look at the bag and be like, oh, okay, yep, this is the one that I want to buy. We know that about 75% of people feed their pets kibble. So just knowing as much as you possibly can about what you're putting into their bodies, it just makes you a more informed consumer. Most people, I mean, I'm going to say most people, but I've done this before, don't buy something just because the bag looks nice. We want to know what's in there. We want to make sure that it is healthy for our pets. We want to know how to pick a food that's right for the life stage that our pet is in. We want to know how it's different from the other pet foods that are out there. And we want to basically just feel confident in our decisions with our pets. I know that before I started working here, I bought the bag of food that I bought and that was it. I am much more conscious about what I'm purchasing now. I look at the bags, I look at the ingredients, I know what to look for, and that's what we're going to go over this week. I think that it's mostly just going to be something for you guys to be like, wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, and like the other big thing is there's a couple big brands that you may not have known. Mars and Nestle are the two biggest pet food manufacturers. So Mars and Nestle, you probably know, already produce chocolate bars that we likely eat. I mean, I know I've eaten a few, but they make multitude of products from chocolate to dish soap to toothpaste. And they're also mixing pet food in the mix. So the question falls with bigger companies. Do they have our pets' best interests at heart? Are they always seeking out the best ingredients? Are they hiding things that they can? Because the laws are very different from human food. They can get away with a lot more things that you can't get away with in our food. So it's kind of just bringing attention to some of those things that manufacturers can get away with. We're also going to look at kind of like their marketing in a way. Like they will put things on a bag. If they put a blueberry on a bag, you expect blueberries to be in there. I would. But sometimes when we look at the ingredient label, the blueberry is right at the end, and there's only going to be one blueberry in that 22-pound bag of food. So it's just being aware of things like that, and we'll touch into that tomorrow. We're going to look at all those ingredients and kind of what percentages things require, so you kind of have a better understanding. Mm-hmm. But essentially, it's just making sure that, yes, there might be marketing it as a specific kind of food, but making sure we look at the back of that label and they are actually being truthful about the food that they are marketing. So, because they pay big bucks to amazing marketers, and you know, I buy into marketing all the time, and I'm sure Bailey buys into marketing all the time.
I sure do.
But we also want to be aware that we're not just buying into the marketing because it looks pretty and flashy. We want to make sure we're looking at that back of the bag as well, and making sure that that marketing lives up to what's actually in the bag as well. So,
yep. For example, the only kibble that we carry in store is Open Farm, and one of the reasons that we love Open Farm is how transparent they are with people. They are not trying to hide anything in their bags. What is on their bag is what is in their food. They have their codes that you can scan, and it will trace everything that is in that food for you. That's the kind of transparency we want to see from our pet food. We want to know where the product is coming from. We want to know if it was humanely raised. We want to know
what the meat in the bag actually is. Is it actually lamb, or are there chicken products hidden in there? Is it whole lamb, or is it lamb byproduct, or lamb meal, or anything like that? So we'll go through, tomorrow's going to be all those ingredient things, so we'll go through the differences between the whole lamb versus the lamb meal versus byproducts and all that kind of stuff. But just kind of being aware of those ingredients, what the differences are. We're going to touch on all those things. Just make sure we're informed, essentially.
It's especially important if we have dogs or cats that have
allergies, sensitivities,
dietary restrictions, if we have any sort of digestive issues, if we have any issues with any of our organs or anything like that, or even if we just know that we have a pet that has a super sensitive tummy. We don't want to be feeding them things that can make that worse. We don't want to be feeding them things that will breed more issues in them. So the more, we're going to say this a lot this week, the more informed we can be, the better.
I think we've said it already. We should
start a tally. If anyone wants to start counting how many times we say informed. But that's really what this is. We just want to make sure that you are making the decisions that are best for your pet. If we know that our pet has a chicken allergy and we're feeding them a food where the food is preserved with a chicken fat, we're not helping that allergy at all. We want to make sure that we are finding foods that don't have the things in them that our pets are allergic to or sensitive to or anything like that. If we know that we have a pet that we can't be feeding food that's super high in fat, then we want to make sure we're looking for a kibble that isn't super high in fat.
We're gonna say it multiple times, but it's all about being informed. That's the main importance, and why we're going to go through the Beyond the Bag Kibble Masterclass today, not just today, this whole week. Bailey's grabbing some examples here, but the big one that we talk about a lot is carbs. So we will give you just like a brief one, but most kind of grocery store or big commercial brands fall between 50 to 70% carbs. Those carbs equal sugar. So this here represents 5 cups of kibble. That 5 cups of kibble converts to 3 cups of sugar in your pet's body. So,
which is not good. We don't want to see that. I mean, as much as I love sugar, I don't want to be eating this much sugar on a regular basis. So if we're feeding this to our dogs every single day, that's a lot of sugar.
It's a lot of sugar, and sugar feeds the same things it does in us, in them. It feeds disease. The big one is yeast. So tomorrow's going to be the big breakdown. Actually, the grade your kibble is going to probably go over those carbs a bit more detailed. So that's going to be day 3. But we just want to make sure that, again, we're aware of what's happening, what kibble actually is, and if kibble is kind of what you're feeding now and you're looking for other possibilities by the end of this week, then we can help you out with that as well.
Of course, like when customers come into the store and they say, oh, these are the issues that I've been having, this is the food I'm feeding, we can confidently say, okay, well, this food falls into this range of carbs. This is probably why your dog is having these issues. And it'll be good for you to know if you have a dog that constantly has yeast issues, constantly has issues with their ears. We call them the Dorito paws. If their paws smell like Doritos. If you have a dog that constantly has those issues and you're going to the vet all the time and you're just not clearing those issues up, well, now you'll know why.
Now you'll know why. You'll know kind of what to look for when you're looking at their food. You can go through the food you're currently feeding, and maybe those issues you can kind of eliminate as it's the food, or maybe it is actually an allergy. We can kind of help differentiate that as well by knowing exactly what we're feeding in the first place, and then how we can kind of help them out.
Carbs versus calories, it's so confusing between the two for me.
Yeah, so tune in on day 3. There's a whole worksheet that we're going to go down through of grading your kibble, and it's going to go through the difference between carbs and calories. Calories essentially kind of encompass everything that's in the food, versus carbs, we're looking at kind of more the kind of grains or kind of potentially filler ingredients and things that go to like make that kibble in the kibble shape. Because the kibble is dry and it has like liquid components and dry, like it needs a dry component basically to stick everything together.
Which is usually something starchy.
Or grains, things like that. So those are kind of the things that we're looking at in terms of kind of carbs. And we'll go into more detail on how you can actually look at your current bag and figure out what is in there on day 3. So you'll tune back in for day 3 for that question. I don't see. If you are tuning in currently, how informed do you feel about kibble in general on a scale of like 1 to 10? 1 being like not really informed and 10 being I'm an expert. I don't even know if I would be a 10.
We're 10s. I'd say that we're still not even experts.
I'm gonna say I'm an 8. I feel pretty confident, but there's always new things to learn.
The pet food industry is ever evolving, and we are constantly learning new things. We're constantly learning different ways that we can support our pets and their diet, different things that we can be doing. And the whole goal of Hop U is to share all of the stuff up here that we have with you guys.
Caitlin says she's an 8, so awesome. So we're on our way, so maybe tuning in the next few days will help you get
to a 10.
To a 10.
Maybe we'll be a 10 by the end of this. That'd be pretty exciting. I'd like to be an expert.
If anything, we hope that you take some information from this week and are able to apply it to what you're currently feeding, and maybe learn something, learn a new way to improve your pet's diet, learn a new way to boost their bowl, or if you're already doing lots of right things, it'll give you the confidence that you know you are feeding something amazing for your pets.
So again, you can go on to the website and you can download the Beyond the Bowl Kibble Masterclass. And just to go over again, day 2 is going to be how to read the bag, the difference between breed specific and all that stuff. And day 3 is going to be grading your kibble, the ways that we go through and grade to figure out if we have a grade A kibble, if we have a grade C kibble. Day 4 is going to be transitioning, getting our pets on that track to transition to a new food if that's what we're wanting to do. What to expect when we're transitioning, the timeline that we recommend for transitioning, everything like that. And then day 5 is going to be ways that we can boost our bowl if we are feeding a kibble, if we want to stick with the kibble. Just ways that we can boost that bowl, give them that little extra, things that are good for them. And I believe that that is everything that we have for today. Today was sort of just a welcome to Hop U. This is what we're going to be doing this week. Yes, this is going to be live on Hop U. We are going to be uploading everything this week to YouTube. So if you miss anything and you don't get to see the whole live, we will have it up on YouTube for you. And again, this is Monday to Friday of this week, every day at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're gonna try and post on socials that we will be doing our lives and what time they're going to be. So if you forget, just keep looking at social media. We will keep you guys updated. And if you have any questions this week, feel free to ask them in the comment section. We want to make sure that we're answering all your questions. If there's anything that you're a little bit unsure of or not clear about, we will definitely help you out. And Caitlin, House of Paws, has taught me 99% of the things about dog nutrition. Very thankful. Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. We love hearing stuff like that. We love hearing that we're helping people. The whole point is that we're here to help, and we want to make sure that you guys are making, for the 800th time this live, informed decisions about your pet nutrition and just doing what's best for your pets. We want them to be around as long as possible. We want to extend their lives through nutrition as much as we can. And that's what we are going to do this week. We're talking about the kibble. So we will be back tomorrow, Tuesday, at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time for day 2 of Hop U. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you're like excited and revved up about learning about kibble. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic day, everyone.